This episode is called Close Calls at the Food Bank. There's always been close calls of people almost getting into a fight at the food bank. And a lot of times it'd be over a spot or it'd be over something someone said to you. Just words. There's one incident. This guy used to be it started with a Monday incident. I go to the food bank on Monday. There's always them close calls and people get mad at other people about being in a spot or saying something to them. If you can't say nothing to people because, like I said, they got that thin skin, and once they get on a spot, they get that false sense of ownership with that spot. They get very protective over that spot. There's one guy, he was lined up and waiting to get our numbers before they switched it up to raffles. This is another reason they switched it up to raffles. So he had his spot in line, and somebody else got in front of him or was talking to him in line, and next thing you know, he argued with the person back and forth about something that was just trivial. And I was just saying to myself, man, you let that go. You're arguing with somebody younger than you is, and she ain't really trying to make no big issue out of it, but you keep going on with it. And he couldn't let it go. If she said one word, he had to come back and say another word. And it's all about that spot he was in. And somebody had bumped against him, and that's all it took to blow him off. And so there you go. That's how close you can be to having a fight over some nonsense like a spot in line. There's one brother on Thursdays, and I'm gonna call him Slim. Slim and drunk. That's what he be. And he's slim built, but he like to get his drink on. So a lot of times he come up there, he already drunk. And because it starts after 12, so he be drunk by 12 easily. He ain't got his drink on in the morning. So he come up there one time, and if somebody touch him, he would go off on him. He's very sensitive about somebody touching him, but he, on the other hand, he ain't got no problem putting his hands on you and touching you. But if you touch him, he would go off on you. Because I made a mistake one time touching him, and he went off a left field. About me touching him, I was going to tell him if he did go on the other side, you can catch up with the cannon before they get him. Trying to look out for him, but next I know he went out left field. Then I see him do it with 2 or 3 other people, and they checked him about it. You know what I'm saying? You can't be that sensitive if somebody accidentally touch you or touch you. But some people are very sensitive about that. I know he oversensitive about that, but the ironic part with him, he ain't got no problem about putting his hands on you and touching you and nudging you to get your attention. But you do it to him, he go out on left field. So that's something you have to learn with the food bank too. How sensitive people can be with little small things that ain't about nothing. But the other fight almost got occurred on the Thursday food bank was when one of the preacher's daughter came in there. And it was crowded that day. So we had a big turnout for a small amount. And a lot of people, they come there, they don't understand that you're going to be the last one to get chosen. Served up that day. You won't be the first one to get served. You'll be the last one to get served. So you'll be the last one to get a chance to get something. So the one person brought their sister up there. And she went off on this one person for coming out where they put the food at. She kept to come out and pass up the crowd. So there's a crowd of people that be in the doorway area. It's the hallway in the door where the door's at. So when she came out there with that box of food, that cracked her up. And she said something to her about it. I don't know why you coming out with a box of food we ain't got ours. Then the daughter countered and said something to her. And next thing you know, they was hooting and hollering. So the guy that was daughter, he's a preacher. He went from preaching to us while we was waiting on the truck and they were setting up the food. He went to preaching to going outside cussing out and getting in the midst with the cuss out. So that was a running joke on that. He went from cussing, went from preaching to cussing and fussing with the same incident because he said his daughter, and she might look like she's innocent, but she gets started. And she sure got started that day over some food. But they don't understand that when you come out there with the food in front of people, it messes them up because they don't understand what's happening. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be enough food to go around 9 times out of 10. Because you always got to remember that you came there with nothing, and you're going to leave with something. So that was almost a big incident. And then security, I call him Bulldog, he had grabbed her and took her outside. But you know, you don't put your hands on people. He took a chance. And she had some family up there. And he could have got a whole lot of stuff started over somebody just saying something, just words. And that almost got some stuff started up there. But Bulldog had a couple incidents up there. He had an incident when he got into one of the volunteers, and he a volunteer himself. But they had put the vent outside, put the truck outside one time. So they came late, so everybody was rushing to get it done. It was real hot outside. And one of the volunteers had some family coming up there, so she had put some food to the side for them. Instead of putting it on the table for everybody to chew through, she had threw it on the side so she could look out for a family member. So she being a little one-sided there. So he had caught her doing that. So he had told her to put the snacks back on the table, and she wasn't taking no orders for him. And that's how I know they into it. And they hooping and hollering, and then they want to fight. Then the family hooping and hollering, and they want to fight it. And they trying to protect it. And that all over somebody making a bad judgment of trying to hide some food so they can look out for their loved ones. You know, it's throwaway food. Don't be so picky over it. You know, so Bulldog and her got into a fight over it. That was the volunteer that likes to get loud with people on Thursdays. And then her family was there, and they all began to fight. And they tried to let Bulldog calm down, asked him to calm down, because it wasn't about nothing, but he took it personally. And she wasn't taking no orders from him. And he didn't like that. So his girlfriend had to calm him down and walk him out. And they was cussing and fussing all the way out the door, all the way off the parking lot. So that was just too funny. And that was over just some food that homegirl had put up on the side for her friends instead of putting it out there for everybody to take. And a little greed can go a long ways. It don't go a long ways at the food bank, but you always got greed at the food bank for some reason or another. So that was two near misses that people be hooping and hollering about. And it's about always be about the food, or it'll be about somebody touching them, or accidentally bumping into them. Because you can get crowded sometime in those spots, especially when they start jamming themselves up at the door and they want to be the first in line. So that was the incident on Thursday. We had a Tuesday incident where this guy comes down there, he's about 80-something years old. And this other lady, she comes there, she drives the pickup. We're going to call this the pickup lady. So the pickup lady was with her cane. And that's how I know we had separation. We had one group over there with the senior citizens, the other group over there, the non-senior citizens. So he had accidentally, the old dude, it was his birthday, he's about 80-something years old. He accidentally tried to sneak him a kiss in on that cheek on her. And that's the worst thing he could have did. That thing, he got his butt almost cussed out, got some yelling, screaming at him, and then she almost died. Talked about hitting him with her cane. And we was wrong for asking for a kiss, but he couldn't apologize back to her that day. And she would have taken no apologies. And that's how much it upset her that he was wanting to get a kiss on the cheek for his birthday. So you got to be careful because people can be very sensitive. The same person have came up and kissed other people. She said she ain't got a problem. Seems like she ain't got a problem receiving it. I mean, giving it, but she do have a problem receiving it. So that's the catch-22 with her. But that would threw me off that how upset she got for somebody 85, in the mid-80s. Looking for a kiss, he can't hurt you, but you got to ask first. That's for sure. But we always have instances up there where people, if they ain't getting cussed out about little trivial stuff, it happened up there Monday with one of the volunteers. And said something to somebody, and they was last in line and went too much to get because they are running out of food. They had more people than food. And lately they've been having some big turnouts for the food. They usually didn't have all them big turnouts. But yeah, the volunteer said something to him. And next time I know he cussing at the person talking about, that's how you get your butt kick up here. You know what I'm saying? Because he mad because he didn't have that much food to be distributed at the end. So that's how sensitive people are. It'd be a lot of close calls at the food bank. And it all depends on how you approach people. But you got to remember, you come there at that event, and you're on their turf. You're not out there in the streets. But some people, they still have that street mentality. That's what it's called. Having a street mentality. And they get very sensitive about little things that ain't about nothing. They don't like being yelled at or screamed at, or they don't like to be touched, and they don't like when nobody talking back to them. You know what I'm saying? They get very sensitive about that. I guess it's just human nature. But it's ever since like everyone I go to, you can find somebody whooping and hollering or complaining about something. That's what you get. You get a lot of complaining at the food bank. That's what I meant to mean. And they ain't fighting, it's complaining. And to me, there ain't nothing to complain about. As I tell people, if you come there with nothing, and you take the chance that you're going to leave with something, you're not guaranteed to leave with nothing. So there ain't no guarantees at the food bank. But people, they still think that they get there, they're supposed to be rewarded. But that ain't always the case. That's why a lot of people be the early birds, so they can be rewarded in front of people that don't be early. In some events, there be some food left over, so they don't get a chance to give it all away. But the premium stuff will be at the front, first in line, that's for sure. So those are some of the near misses, close calls that occurred at the food bank. And there's a lot more that I ain't touched on. But all it depends. If you get a crowd of people together, and there's always going to be an incident. Because people crowd up, they get anxious. I call it being anxious. And they don't want nobody to say nothing to them. They get very defensive. They always got their guard up, that's for sure. And like I said, there's one young lady, she complained so much at the Thursday food bank, and I call her the professional complainer, that they closed it down for a whole month to show people that they don't have to give it out. They're doing this out with the extra food they got. They're trying to distribute it. They are distributing it to the community, so they don't have to throw it out. And this lady just can't get through that. That just can't get through her head. She thinks that she be first in line with the volunteers, or sometimes with the homeless houses. She want to be in front of everybody. She figured they ain't not distributing it out right, so that's all she do is complain about how they distribute the food out. And she been told more than once how the deal is, what the deal is on that. And she just still can't get to it. Her and another brother, he be up there complaining too. About the same thing, how they distribute the food out. But then at the same time, I can see them leaving there sometimes with their shopping carts on full. So it's a hit and miss situation, it ain't guaranteed. And they still be complaining sometimes. I seen her complain all the way out the door, and she had her shopping cart on full. Now, how can you complain if you got your shopping cart on full? On that day, that was a good day for you. But on every day, ain't going to be a good day. And that's what you got to know up there. With these food banks, it ain't going to be a good day every day. So they ain't no you whooping and hollering and want to fight over the little space you get and be oversensitive. Make me feel that people are ungrateful. You're getting something for nothing. And it ain't cost you nothing but your time. That's what it costs you. And if you drive your vehicle, it costs you some gas money and whatever it costs to maintain a vehicle. But if you're walking with a shopping cart or riding a bike like me, you ain't got really no money invested. You just got your time invested. That's why I don't complain. I have broad shoulders. I don't let nothing worry me about that because, I'm ahead of the game. At the end of the day, I have some food at the house that I didn't have to go to the store and buy, especially them canned goods. So I got something for nothing. So I don't complain. But more power to the ones that do complain, because I call these people stuck on stupid. Don't be so sensitive to people saying something to you. You're on their turf, and then play by their rules. You don't like theirs. You don't like their rules, don't come back up there. If everybody open invitation, they're open to the public. And they don't have to be open to the public, but they are. They're required to be open to the public. And they're a giveaway. This is a food bank. This is a giveaway. This is just something for nothing. So you should be appreciative of it. But for those who ain't, more power to them, because sometimes you get stuck on stupid with it. And like I said, Bulldog, he was stuck on stupid with it. He's very territorial over the food, especially the meat. The meat cracked him up. But he got caught up in it with the meat. The meat didn't even cost him. His privilege is to, like I said, it's a privilege, not a right, to volunteer there. It's a privilege, not a right to come there. And that's what you need to know. But we'll talk more about Bulldog later on. That's a whole other story in itself. That's too funny. They got a